That's my experience. Okay, so those are your 3 rules. So we have, number 1, you always get the same kind back, right? Number 2, you always get back more than what you put in. And number 3, you always have to wait. There's never a point where you don't have to wait. So let's kind of bring this into our realm. How does this affect us? What's the major ways this affects us? So I have 2 points because, I'm not Pentecostal or Baptist, so I have red in the middle, 2. Okay, most people have either 3, 5, or maybe 15. I have 2 points today, so it's good. Okay, so the first way that this affects us is in living. Okay? The way we live and what we do, every action we say. The law of reciprocity is on that. So I have a story for you. Okay? It's kind of lengthy, but, I didn't write it, so I'm going to shorten it a little bit. Here we go. Okay. A man was driving down the road, and he almost didn't see the old lady stranded on the side of the road. But even in the dim light of day, he could see she needed help. So he pulled up in front of her Mercedes and got out. His Pontiac was still sputtering when he approached her. Even with a smile on his face, she was worried. No one had stopped to help for the last hour or 2. Was he going to hurt her? He didn't look safe. He looked poor and hungry. He could see that she was frightened, standing out there in the cold. He knew how she felt. It was those chills which only fear can put in you. He said, "I'm here to help you, ma'am. Why don't you wait in the car where it's warm? By the way, my name is Brian." Well, all she had was a flat tire, but for an old lady, that was bad enough. Brian crawled under the car looking for a place to put the jack, skinning his knuckles a time or 2. Soon he was able to change the tire, but he had to get dirty and his hands hurt. As he was tightening up the lug nuts, she rolled down the window and began to talk to him. She told him that she was from St. Louis and was only just passing through. She couldn't thank him enough for coming to her aid. Brian just smiled as he closed her trunk. She asked him how much she owed him. Any amount would have been all right with her. She had already imagined all the awful things that could have happened had he not stopped. Brian never thought twice about the money. This was not a job to him. This was helping someone in need, and God knows where were plenty who had given to him in the past. He had lived his whole life that way, and it never occurred to him to act any other way. He told her that if she really wanted to pay him back, the next time she saw someone who needed help, she could give that person the assistance that they needed, and Brian added, "Think of me." He waited until she started her car and drove off. It had been a cold and depressing day, but he felt good as he headed for home, disappearing into the twilight. A few miles down the road, the lady saw a small cafe. She went in to grab a bite to eat and take home. It was a dingy-looking restaurant. Outside were 2 old gas pumps. The whole scene was unfamiliar to her. The cash register was like the telephone of an out-of-work actor. It didn't ring much. Anyway, that was a joke. Okay, let me say that one more time. This time you guys laugh really, really loud. It's going to be great. Okay, not too early though. I know. I see that. You gotta laugh through it. The cash register. The cash register was like the telephone of an out-of-work actor. It didn't ring much. I wish I had a drum right now. Wait. Never mind. I'm not going to do that. It'll take too long. Okay. So her waitress came over and brought a clean towel to wipe her wet hair. She had a sweet smile, one that even being on her feet for the whole day couldn't erase. The lady noticed that the waitress was nearly 8 months pregnant. Ouch. But she never let the strain and aches change her attitude. The old lady wondered how someone who had so little could be giving to a stranger. Then she remembered Brian. After the lady finished her meal and the waitress went to get change for her $100 bill, the lady slipped right out the door. She was gone by the time the waitress came back. She wondered where the lady could be, and then she noticed something written on the napkin, under which were 4 $100 bills. There were tears in her eyes when she read what the lady wrote. It said, "You don't owe me anything. I have been there too. Somebody once helped me out the way I'm helping you. If you really want to pay me back, here's what you do. Do not let this chain of love end with you." Well, there were tables to clear, sugar bowls to fill, and people to serve, but the waitress made it through another day. That night, when she got home from work and climbed into bed, she was thinking about the money and what the lady had written. How could the lady have known how much she and her husband needed it? With the baby due next month, it was going to be hard. She knew how worried her husband was, and as he lay sleeping next to her, she gave him a soft kiss and whispered soft and low, "Everything's going to be all right. I love you, Brian." All right, so if you guys didn't catch it, Brian is the guy at the beginning. So that's a pretty good story. I looked it up. I found all kinds of stories. Picking the one is always the fun part. I picked the longer one because I really like that. because it really gives the idea, it's a shorter term idea, but it gives the idea of doing something and then something coming back and back. Okay? Now, sometimes you may say that isn't exactly what he sowed, right? Because remember a little bit ago, we had 3 rules, right? You always get back the same time that you get. Well, here's the cool thing. God set it up in such a way that when we do something good, we'll get good back. It doesn't necessarily have to be like somebody changing another tire for us. That would be kind of strange, especially if you never have a flat tire. Can I change your flat tire? I don't have one. Okay. Anyway, so that's not going to happen. So naturally, the way the earth works is you put in something good, typically something good will come back. You put in something bad will come back. That's the idea. So we have some scripture, Luke 6:38. All right. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For with the measure you use it, will be measured back to you. Proverbs 22:8. All right, we're getting good at this. All right, whoever sows injustice will reap calamity, and the rod of his fury will fail. Matthew 7:12 says, I think, Matthew 7:12. You got it up there? Yeah. There we go. All right. So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Okay. So the basic idea here with these scriptures, you're realizing really quickly.